Welcome to today's lesson in physics. Today we are discussing equilibrium, principle of moments, and lever. First, let's discuss equilibrium of a rigid body. A rigid body is said to be in mechanical equilibrium if both its linear momentum and angular momentum are not changing with time, or equivalently we can say the body has neither linear acceleration nor angular acceleration. These conditions can be stated in terms of force and torque. The statement that linear momentum remains constant, it means that the net force acting on the body is zero. Or when we say angular momentum not changing with time or angular momentum remains constant, it means that net torque acting on the rigid body is zero. So the conditions for mechanical equilibrium can be restated as: first condition, the net force acting on the body should be equal to zero and net torque acting on the body should be equal to zero. So likewise, mechanical equilibrium includes two types of equilibria called rotational equilibrium and translational equilibrium. In translational equilibrium, total force equal to zero. That means vector sum of all the forces acting on the rigid body will be equal to zero. Means F1 plus F2 plus etc. plus Fn equal to zero. For a body to be in rotational equilibrium, the total torque, that means vector sum of all the torques acting on the rigid body, should be equal to zero. If the torque is equal to zero, the angular momentum will be conserved. So that is the condition for rotational equilibrium. If a rigid body satisfies both these conditions, that rigid body is said to be in mechanical equilibrium. So once again, the total force, the vector sum of forces on the rigid body is zero, and if the total force is zero, total linear momentum does not change with time. If the total torque, that is the vector sum of torques on the rigid body, is zero, then we can say that the total angular momentum of the body does not change with time. So the condition for equilibrium can be stated either in terms of force and torque or in terms of linear momentum and angular momentum. Anyway, mechanical equilibrium of a body includes both translational equilibrium and rotational equilibrium. If a rigid body satisfies any one condition, that means if it is either in rotational equilibrium or in translational equilibrium, then the body is said to be in partial equilibrium. That means a body may be in partial equilibrium, that is, it may be in translational equilibrium and not in rotational equilibrium, or it may be in rotational equilibrium and not in translational equilibrium. Then the body is said to be in partial equilibrium. Here we have two examples for partial equilibrium. Consider two parallel forces acting on the edges of a road as given in the figure. At the points A and P, two forces equal forces F are acting as shown. So we can see that the total force acting on the road, it is equal to F plus F equal to 2F, which is not equal to 0. So it is not in translational equilibrium. But when we look for rotational equilibrium, we can write the expression for torque due to the two forces. As it is clear, the force at A, it produces anti-clockwise rotation. So the torque due to the force at A, it is of positive sign, and the torque due to the force at B, it causes clockwise rotation like this, clockwise. So the torque due to that force will be negative. So when we find the total torque, it will be F into A, that is due to the force at A, minus F into A, that is due to the force at B. Because at B, the force produces clockwise rotation and the torque is negative. So net torque, we will get it to be 0. So for such a system, that means a rigid body or rigid rod under the action of two equal forces as shown at equal distance about the point C. For such a system, it is in rotational equilibrium but not in translational equilibrium because its net force is not equal to 0. Likewise, another example we have, on the two ends of the same rod, two forces are acting, equal forces are acting in the opposite direction as shown. These two forces, when we take the sum, since they are in opposite direction, their net will be equal to 0. That means net force acting on the rod is 0. So of course the system is in translational equilibrium. Now when we look for net torque, we can see that both the forces produces anti-clockwise rotation. Both the force produce anti-clockwise rotation. So the net torque will not be equal to 0. Net torque will be equal to F into A plus F into A. That means 2F into A. So net torque is not equal to 0. So this particular system, it is not in rotational equilibrium, but it is in translational equilibrium. So these two examples, these two cases are the examples of partial equilibrium. First case in rotational equilibrium, not in translational equilibrium. Second case in translational equilibrium, but not in rotational equilibrium. To discuss the principle of moments, we consider a rod AB under the action of two forces F1 and F2 at the ends A and B as shown. And the rod AB is pivoted at a point O, and that point is called as fulcrum. And this is an ideal lever. So ideal lever, it is a light rod which is pivoted at a point along its length. When we use the word lever, lever means a simple machine which help us to do some task in our daily life. Such simple machines we call as levers. Scissors, stapler, all such things are actually levers. So this rod which is pivoted at the point O, it is a lever, simple ideal lever. Now two forces F1 and F2, they are acting in downward direction as shown in figure. Now these two forces, they are acting perpendicular to the length AB. Now by applying the condition for translational equilibrium, so the system, it is pivoted at the point O. So at the point O, at the point of contact, there will be a reaction force which is acting upwards. That is written as R. So R is the reaction force. So if the rod is under equilibrium, means it is stationary. So it is in translational equilibrium as well as in rotational equilibrium. For this rod to be in translational equilibrium, the net force acting on the rod should be equal to 0. That means total force should be equal to 0. So total upward force plus total downward force will be equal to 0, which means that R minus F1 minus F2 equal to 0. Here we have followed the sign convention such that upward direction is taken as positive and downward direction is taken as negative. So two forces F1 and F2 are taken to be negative, and reaction, since it is in upward direction, it comes to be positive. So that equation suggests that R is equal to F1 plus F2. That is first equation. Now coming to rotational equilibrium, since the rod is at rest about that point O, it is in rotational equilibrium also. So for rotational equilibrium, we know the condition is net torque equal to 0. So when we look in the diagram, we have two distances D1 and D2. So from the pivoted point to the end A, where the force F1 is acting, that is marked as D1, and to the point B, the distance is marked as D2. So when we write the expression for torque due to F1, from this figure it is clear F1 is producing anti-clockwise rotation. So torque due to F1 is positive, and that torque will be force into perpendicular distance. That perpendicular distance is D1. So torque due to F1 about the point O, the torque is F1 into D1. Similarly, torque due to the force F2, when we find the torque due to the force F2, that force F2 is producing clockwise rotation. So, its torque is to be taken negative. And the perpendicular distance about the point O, or from the point O, the perpendicular distance to the line of action of F2 is D2. So, the torque due to F2, it is minus F2 into D2. Since it produces clockwise rotation, it is taken to be negative. So, the condition for rotational equilibrium, it becomes D1 F1 minus D2 F2 equal to 0. Or we have D1 F1 equal to D2 F2. Or it can be written like load arm into load is equal to effort arm into effort. So what is meant by load and what is meant by effort? Load and effort, they are the common words used in lever. In our diagram, we can take F1 as load and F2 as effort, or in opposite way also we can take. So F1 we take as load and F2 we take as effort. So D1 becomes load arm and D2 becomes effort arm. So F1 is load, D1 is load arm, and F2 is effort and D2 is effort arm. So the condition for rotational equilibrium, we get it to be load arm into load is equal to effort arm into effort. Actually, this equation is called as principle of moments. So principle of moments means load arm into load is equal to effort arm into effort. Here one term called mechanical advantage is to be defined. Mechanical advantage is defined as the load to effort ratio. So mechanical advantage equal to F1 by F2. From the previous expression, we get F1 by F2 equal to D2 by D1. That means load by effort is equal to effort arm by load arm. So to increase mechanical advantage, D1 is to be decreased. As it is given in the diagram, D1 is to be decreased. So here three terms to be kept in mind, that is fulcrum, that is the point about which the lever is pivoted or at which the lever is pivoted, and the two forces load and effort. Now based on the relative positions of load, effort and fulcrum, we have three different classes of levers: first order lever, second order lever and third order lever, or first class, second class and third class levers. One by one we will discuss. In first class lever, the position of fulcrum is in between the positions of effort and load. So fulcrum, if it comes between effort and load, that type of lever, it will be a first class lever. The examples of first class lever: seesaw, hammers, close, scissors, pliers. These four are examples of first class levers. So how it comes as first class? Simple explanation we'll have. In seesaw, anyway it is evident fulcrum is in between and the two person who sit on either side, they are on either side. So effort and load act as those two people. And in the case of claw and hammer, In that case, see, when we take that one nail or something using the claws, no, from using the claw in the hammer, the other end of the hammer, it touches that surface. So that point acts as the fulcrum. And effort is the position where we apply the force. So actually fulcrum is coming in between. In scissors also, fulcrum is coming in between. In pliers, you can see fulcrum is coming in between. So all these are examples of first class levers. Now coming to second class lever. In second class lever, load comes in between. So effort and fulcrum comes at the two ends and load is coming in between. That type of lever, it is second class lever. The examples for second class levers: stapler, bottle opener, wheelbarrow, urban we say, urbana we say, nail clippers, nut cracker. All these are examples of second class levers. Wheelbarrow, you can see effort at one end and fulcrum at the other end and load is in the middle. Very simple example of second class lever. Bottle opener, fulcrum at one end, effort at the other end where we exert force and the load is in between. Paper cutter also like that. So for all these second class lever, we can see that the load is coming in between effort and fulcrum. Now coming to the third class lever, effort comes in between and fulcrum and load comes at the two ends. Such levers we call as third class levers. In third class lever, examples we have ice tongs. Ice tongs is the simple example for third class lever. Ice tongs, or we say forceps, which we use in biology lab. All those are examples of third class lever. Then fishing rod also we say. Fishing rod, it is a third class lever. Okay, so load is coming at one end, fulcrum at the other end, and effort is coming in between in third class lever. So in ice tongs, we can see the effort is in between. In the case of broom also, broomstick also, effort we apply just in between, no, not at the two ends actually. So all these are examples of third class lever. So you can keep in mind one shortcut, FLE, F-L-E. If fulcrum comes in between, that is first order. The next letter L, load. If load comes in between, that is second order or second class. And when effort comes in between, it becomes third class. So the shortcut to recollect the order of levers, it is FLE, F-L-E. With that, we wind up today's session. Thank you.